Ciso. Oh, it's fabulous! A strike to get you up off your seats.
Hello and welcome to Seagulls Social. This is the Villa at home match reaction, and we've already got lots of alarms going on my street because someone's dying, I think, which is never good.
Yeah.
But yes,
That's good.
good start. I mean,
Hope
it reflects very much how we're feeling, Jack, doesn't it, really? As Brighton fans.
Hope you're safe. Hope you're safe, Maz. Like, you know.
I'm mentally not in a great place. That's just because we lost the Villa.
No.
But physically, I'm safe, Jack. So thank you very much for your concern. But yes, first of all, mate, before we get into it, how are you today?
Yeah, good. I hope everybody's enjoying my new high definition camera, so you can see like all my pores and wrinkles.
If you're watching on YouTube, Jack has upgraded.
You know,
his
like
camera.
the massive bags under my eyes. I'm.
It's
looking...
actually nice to see you, Jack. Usually it's just really dark. You're very pixelated, and you're either really orange or really just grey. So it's quite nice to see you in.
Sort of performing like a video where I demand ransoms from governments for the hostage that I'm keeping, that sort of vibe, isn't it?
Yeah. The shirt really goes with that whole look, really.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's pretty... Do you know what? I'm actually just in a filthy mood. Like, really haven't enjoyed these last week. It's really pissed me off. So, yeah, I'm not in the greatest mood. I think it's just wasn't great. Wasn't a great week, was it? To be supporting Brighton Hove Albion.
That's an
club.
understatement. Jack. Watching that yesterday was very painful. I was really tempted when he put 10 minutes up as added time. I was just like, I think this is my cue to zone out and just sack it off. But I powered through. Got to see the third goal, which was interesting to say the least. But Jack, without further ado, mate, let's get into it because another disappointing result, like you said, Jack. After losing to Forest on penalties in the cup, we were looking to bounce back, and we both said it. To be fair, in the preview, it was always going to be a tough game. You know, look, Villa straight from the back. There's no Asensio in the team. They dropped. They rested a couple of players from the Preston game, but they were still such top quality players on display. You know, you got Rashford up top, Martinez in goal. You know, just look through the whole team, and they've got quality everywhere. They were able to bring on Onana, Asensio, and Donyell Marlon off the bench, and I think that just speaks volumes.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it just speaks volumes. So from the moment of the first minute, it was always going to be a long evening for us. But Jack, talk to me about how we started the game, and obviously a few changes from our side as well. Obviously Gruder coming in, the Dingra starting. A few changes from ours as well. So how do you think we started the game?
I actually thought we played quite well first half. I thought we were a slightly better team. I think they dug in. They knew what they're doing. I don't think you're going to get Villa fans going like, it was like a complete performance for 90 minutes. I think we did really well in the first half, so maybe a little bit of positivity there. I thought we probably could have gone ahead in the first half. Probably got a little bit lucky with that penalty, although I think he touched the ball, so who knows really. And then, we could have had a penalty ourselves, which wasn't checked for some reason. Like, if they're the legitimate rule, why that wasn't a handball, that's fine. But it does seem to annoy me that, he spends ages looking on the screen, or they spend ages checking Hinchelwood's foul on Ramsey, and then they don't even spend a minute checking on the screen our penalty. It seems like a bit random, doesn't it, with VAR? But whatever it is, Stuart Atwell's just a shit referee all round. I think
he was poor, wasn't he, for both teams?
Yeah, he's poor for both teams. I just don't think he should be a referee. I mean, if you go back all the way to that ghost goal he gave in Reading versus Watford years ago, he's just a crap referee. And it is what it is. But I think we did well in that first half. Yari hit the post, did really well. Thought he actually had quite a good game last night, except for that miss quite late on, which was a shame. But because we maybe could have pulled ourselves into it a little bit.
Interesting with that. On Yari, actually, Jack, just quickly. I've seen he's been getting a bit of flack on social media. I agree with you. I think he was pretty good, to be honest. Half decent. Oh, you all right?
Yeah. Sorry, there was a massive... I just got a massive, really loud noise, but it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Then, is it coming back? Should we pause?
No, I think it's to do with my headphone.
Oh,
there we go. No.
Sorry about that. We had a couple of technical issues there, but we're back.
Jack, what was going on?
You were saying?
Sorry. I think I had the loudest feedback I've ever heard there. Yeah, Ayari. I thought Ayari played really well, but he was getting a lot of stick from people, which I don't really get. I think Iari's he suffers from the same sort of thing Gilmore did a bit, where I don't think people really appreciate what he brings to the game. I think obviously players had to rest, so I don't blame Hersler for resting people, but I think it's a hard job when you haven't got Belieber next to you, which I think could have been the major problem in that. So yeah, that was a bit frustrating, but it is what it is, really, isn't it? So, not to go Graham Potter there, but yeah, it is what it is. So,
remember history.
I think there was just a lot of decisions which kind of had to be made, and which obviously just took their toll on the game. Like, the rotation. I think everybody was a bit like, ooh, like, all the players are rotating. I don't know how that sort of feels. But at the end of the day, I don't blame Hersler for doing it. They played 120 minutes. Some of the internationals look shagged on Saturday. So if you play them for another 90 minutes, then we're looking at even more problems. So yeah, that was a frustrating thing, but I fully get why he did it. That's it really.
Yeah. Again, talking about like social media backlash or people talking about things. That was another thing I saw as well about Hersler's decision to make multiple changes. But I agree with you, Jack. I think he had to, because, like you said, that performance against against Forest, and also I suppose it applies to Villa, was not good in my opinion until that last 15 minutes of extra time. We just didn't. We looked so leggy, and we just looked, shadow of what we were like before the international break. And I think he had to switch it up against Villa, in my opinion.
And I think it's not to like bring it up more the Forest game more, but I think there was one thing that was noticeable, that while we weren't very good, you couldn't fault the effort of the team. And I think that's where, like, they ran into the ground, they just weren't good. And I think that was a sign of that changes did need to be made for like fatigue reasons, because players are just running and they're crashing into the ground. I think that was the right decision, and we looked quite good for about 60 odd minutes until they scored, really. And it's a frustrating one, and I think there's a lot to blame for the 60 minutes onwards. You can blame quite a lot.
Yes,
but
we're
definitely just a poor fall off.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that. But just quickly before you do that, Jack Hinshelwood challenge. I do want to talk about that quickly, because I know you said that he won the ball. I had the luxury of seeing multiple replays, obviously watching it on stream, and I'll be honest, I think he was quite lucky with that one. I think he got away with it a little bit. I think he did catch Ramsey, and I was really shocked at the fact that they were watching it so much at VAR in the centre at Stockley Park for so long. I was really surprised they didn't give it, to be honest, and I was really shocked that when they did say no penalty.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, you could argue then a couple of other decisions, could have gone our way as well. I thought the Matoma one was harsh, even though I'm edging towards it just being under the sort of sleeve line. Because do you know what I noticed actually with Matoma? And Man City was the perfect example. When he'd done it against Man City against Ortega, when got disallowed, I noticed he sort of leans in with his shoulder a lot when he controls it at certain times, which I don't think is helping him, because now twice we've had two goals chalked off, and I don't know if that's just maybe his style of how he chests it, but it doesn't help his case in those two occasions especially. So yeah, it was frustrating because it was literally like fine margins with that Matoma handball.
See, for me with the Matoma goal, I don't think it should have been disallowed. That's probably quite a controversial opinion, because I saw quite a lot of Brighton fans saying that it was a handball. But I think the difference is deliberate handball and accidental handball, right? And there does seem to be two standards for it on defensive and attacking wise. I think it's frustrating, like, defensively, that he would have probably got away with that if that was a foul inside the box, because the arm's in the shoulder line, it's in the body, he's not touching it with his arm. If he had hit the ball straight in after it touched that part of his arm, I'd fully agree. That's a rule, black and white. You can't score with your arm or your hand or whatever. My frustration is it's there. Sorry, I'm doing it. It's about there, wasn't it, where it touches his arm. Now, the rules were meant to have been changed black and white and said it was the sleeve line. That seems to have gone out the window completely, which is really frustrating. And I think as well, it deflects off the arm into the hands of Martinez. He saves and then we score. I don't think that's like a direct action that can be said, right, he's handled it into the net. Obviously, that's his style. He maybe chested it a bit interesting because the Chelsea goal could have been misconstrued as VAR saying that was a handball. So there's a lot of frustration around that. I think
my only
it's
thing
very
is just
harsh.
emotion. My only thing is because he sort of like leans into it.
Yeah.
It looks. I can see why maybe from a referee's perspective, it's looked like he's gone with the intention of using that to his advantage by then the ball falling for Martinez to then save it and then Adingra to lash it in. I think it's just the way he sort of leans into it. If it just bounced off him and fell, I can sort of maybe give a better argument. But for me, because of the fact he sort of leans into it and makes that motion towards it, I think that for me is what unfortunately does penalise him. But I agree with you. I think it's so borderline. Like, what is now the sleeve sort of where does it actually start and finish? You know what I mean?
Because you can't definitively say that is a deliberate handball, and that's my frustration. And I do think that, like, look, I don't think we were hard done by, but I don't think the referees were the reason we lost the game in the end. Although it could have been so different if that Dingle goal had counted, but it is what it is. And my frustration is if that happens to a Liverpool or an Arsenal and they score a goal like that, I really don't think they rule it out somewhere like Anfield. And
I mean, we've seen it in the past, haven't we?
Yeah, and we've seen players score goals like that before and they don't check it. And I do just think there is I think referees they're just crap. The consistency's crap. They're just shit referees. And yeah, I thought Atwell was just a bit rubbish.
I've been talking about this for a long, long time. I remember when I said about the standard of refereeing being the worst it's ever been. I remember a few people saying, "No, it's not." What you're talking about. Even like Jamie Carragher disagreed with me. It was when I said it on the overlap, and even he was like, "No, it's definitely been worse." And I was like, I don't think it has been. This is a few months ago as well, by the way, and I feel like it's only got worse. I feel like there's no improvement at all.
I find myself thinking now, like after every game, is I don't find myself going, "Oh yeah, this referee was biased against Brighton," because you're always going to think that, aren't you? Like, I think that's always a case. You always have that conscious bias. The referee is biased against us. That's fine. What my problem is every single game, I'm going, wow, that referee was just shit all round.
No, 100%.
And I think,
and also yesterday there were so many stoppages in play for VAR, or I think was it 4 checks? Obviously, 10 minutes added time as well. Obviously, shows how much time is spent not playing football.
I think the frustration for me is that, like, I just think the referees just rely on VAR now rather than making strong decisions and making sure that they're
100%.
good at making
it's a safety net,
strong
isn't it?
decisions. Yeah, it's a safety net. They can be a crap referee and do a game crap. And then just sort of go like, oh, that was a 50-50. I don't know. I could have made a big call there. But instead they don't. And my frustration is more likely than not, the referee on VAR will just back them up. And yeah, it's frustration. I also just don't think the guy doing the VAR yesterday, Matt Donoghue, he shouldn't be VARs on Premier League games. This isn't just us. I think this is just a refereeing problem. Why have we got a referee on VAR who has never refereed in the Premier League? That to me is crazy. Mental. What? Like he's never refereed. Look, I'm sure he'll be a fine referee, but we shouldn't be getting Championship referees to referee Premier League games. You give him a few games in the Premier League, and then he can go on VAR. You've got Michael. Put him as the fourth official. Simon Hooper doesn't need to be sat there as fourth official when he could be doing VAR. I just thought that's an odd thing for me that we've got VAR, but I don't think it really affected the result. This is just me ranting.
I was just about to say that, to be fair. Oh yeah, I agree with you 100%. The standard refereeing is in the absolute pits, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't the reason why we lost that game yesterday. I think, like you said, after that sort of the Rashford goal in the 51st minute, sorry, it was just sort of downhill from there, really, in terms of
definitely.
And the 4 changes as well. And look, I don't want to sort of single people out. Let's focus on the first goal with Rodgers. Obviously, Van Heck with a header. Martinez saves it, throws it out to Morgan Rodgers, and it was just one sort of long ball. Great ball, to be fair to him. Rashford just got on his bike. And, Dunkey's, we all know speed is not his, main asset. Well, and of course, we're not expecting him to do that. But, sorry, just quickly, Jack. The fact that we tried to claim offside was embarrassing. I'm sorry, but he was within his own half.
I don't think anyone did they?
No, they did. Van Hecker and Dunk, I think, both claimed offside
Oh well,
straight away.
that was silly, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
it was well within their own half. The only thing I'm going to say for Dunk quickly is I do think that he was actually in the box because I did see somebody. I'm just trying to think back to the goal now, but some people just look. I get it. Dunk has been pretty poor recently, and that is that. But what my issue is you can't be blaming Dunk for that goal when he's in the box defending. Do you want us to not send him up for a corner? Like that's my frustration. So I did think that
No,
was
of
a
course.
bit
No,
odd.
no. I think to be fair, positionally, I don't think Donkey and Van Heck were actually like terribly. Maybe it was a tough one because I think Rashford actually stopped his run. So he went to run, checked his run, and then went again.
Yeah,
And I think that obviously will throw off Van Heck and Dunk in that situation.
yeah,
And then, of course, they're not going to have the pace to then run back. However, what I will say, in my opinion, and not to say that he's at fault for the goal. Arguable. I think Verbruggen in this situation was really poor. The fact he, first of all, hesitated, went forward, then went back, and then when he actually goes to make the save, he sort of just gets hot, like he gets his hand to it, just not strong enough, and it sort of just trickles in the goal. And that was a frustration for me with Verbruggen. And it's been a few times this season where I have questioned him. And I remember, was it a couple of months ago when I was asking, wasn't I? I was saying to you guys, I was like, why don't we give like a Rushworth a go? Because I felt like he was making a lot of mistakes. I think he's contributed at the time. He contributed to like 7. No, sorry, there were 7 errors leading to a goal, and he'd contributed to like 3 or 4. And for me,
definitely.
for a goalkeeper to be contributing to that many mistakes is just not okay. I'm not saying that he made a mistake in that situation yesterday, but there's been times this season where I have questioned him, and I feel like it was very similar to when Matty Ryan was at the club, and there was no competition for his spot. And sorry, was it Sanchez? But it was just, I just feel like with Verbruggen, he's a top quality goalkeeper, and don't get me wrong, he will be a top quality goalkeeper in the future. But there's times this season where I have questioned him, and the times where I thought, you could be doing better there.
I think, because do you know what? Funnily enough, while you were talking now, I did just watch the goal back again for the first time in a long time. And it's a frustrating one to concede because I think Gomez just gets caught napping. I don't really know what he's doing. Matoma walks off. Let's not deny, like Rashford, when he's on form, is one of the best strikers or players, can be up there with some of the best players in the Premier League. So fair play to Villa for taking a chance on him and getting him playing again. But Brogdon gets a touch on it. If you're getting a touch on it as a goalkeeper, you should really be saving it. He really was stuck between whether to come and go, and
that hesitation killed him.
Dunk's tracking him, but I'm not being funny. Dunk has sprinted from like the edge of the box. Like what more is he meant to do? Like he's sprinting at full pelt. It's a frustrating one for Verbruggen. I think for me at the moment, I think the frustrating thing with Verbruggen is I'm not seeing him saving much, and that's what the thing is. It does sort of feel like teams are getting their couple of shots on target and just putting them all away. That's a frustrating thing for me, and I do think he should have done a lot better with the third goal. That's a goal which I think he should be saving. He gets a pretty heavy touch on that, and he doesn't put it wide. So a frustrating one from Verbruggen. But I think I made the point during the game. I wasn't overly enamoured with him, and someone did say he is only 22 and he is still very young for a goalkeeper. So there's a lot to work on.
I don't doubt his sort of ceiling or his ability to what he can be. I just feel like there's been times this season where I have really questioned him and thought you're meant to be this, the Dutch number one, and it's just sometimes he doesn't quite display those qualities that you look for in your goalkeeper. So it's just
once again, I think this is something I've picked up on Twitter today, where I've sort of, I've seen it quite a lot with various people on Twitter about how this is our best squad ever and all of this. And look, I think it's a great squad. I don't think we've got a bad team, but like as much as it's a good squad, there's so much potential there, but whether the ability is quite there, is the problem. And look, Verbruggen's a great goalkeeper and he's got a lot of potential, but there's nothing to say that he is quite at that level to be like a world-class goalkeeper yet, and he's been frustrating for a couple of games. So it'd be interesting to sort of see how his development goes, because there's a lot of clubs circling already, sort of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid sort of looking at him. So it'd be interesting to see where that sort of goes. And I think it's a frustrating one, but we'll see. We've got a good line of succession with goalkeepers on in at a club. Rushworth, he can definitely push him. Beadle, he has been dropped by Sheffield Wednesday. He's having a bit of a funny old season with Sheffield Wednesday, so that's disappointing because he's very highly rated, but once again, very young. So, we've got all these options coming through. So I think there's competition, and I think it'll be a big summer for him, either in that he could get a very good move, or he's really going to have to prove how much he's worth it for us, really. Yeah.
No, 100%.
A bit of a long-winded thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good to discuss it all. Obviously, this is what we're here to do. But yeah, going into the second goal, then Jack. Again, I don't want to single out players, but of course, Cashin did make his debut last night. Came on for Dunk in the 72nd minute, and I don't want to be that guy, but I've got to say it how it is. He had a stinker of a debut, in my opinion.
Yeah,
great on the ball. He looked really good, comfortable on the ball.
I thought that
making forward passes. I'll give him his credit. He looked very comfortable on the ball and looked like he was trying to make some progressive passes, which is great. And this, in the system we play, it's great to have that ball playing centre half. But yes, he defensively he really struggled yesterday, and it was sad because and to be fair to him, and again to defend him, he got thrown into the deep end, a really good Villa side, and being 1-0 down at the time, it's not an easy time to come on at all.
One which is ultimately kind of our kryptonite, which is very pacey attackers. It's a bit of a baptism of fire to be your first Premier League game is Marco Asensio and Ollie Watkins. Marco Asensio, Champions League winner, great player. Ollie Watkins, probably one of the, behind Harry Kane, the best English striker out there at the moment. So, it's a bit of a baptism of fire. I think the
fact Watkins can't even start for them says it all, really.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
And I think it's interesting. Like, I saw some people criticising, like, why did we take Dunk off and stuff like that? Because he's not fit.
No, it's the right move.
I think and it's the right decision. You can't be criticising Herzler for that sort of stuff because it was the right 100%. Decision. And when you're chasing a game, the centre back ideally should be doing a lot of just very basic stuff, kind of passing the ball around, moving it forward. And if that was the right decision, and he got turned for the goal, but it's his first game, it's an interesting one. I mean, look, all credit to Cashin. I think he looks a fine player, but he's definitely been one of our most puzzling signings of recent times. Like I'm a little bit confused by it. I don't 100% understand what is the thinking behind it. But look, I'm not paid to be the director of football, but I'd say that one thing that our defence could do with is a bit of pace. And, from what Derby fans have said, that pace isn't his best asset. So, it's a bit of a strange one from me. But, he looked really good on the ball. I will give some positives for him because I don't want him to
100%.
shit after his
first
game.
Obviously, like I said, I don't like, singling out players, but I had
definitely
to say it how it was, obviously, in terms of his
defensive, of course. He even said it himself, on Instagram, saying, like, not the kind of debut that I wanted, but, it's really pleasing to get a Premier League debut. And, of course, we'll credit that. And I thought his passing and his diags were really, really good. So, for me, I think that could be a really good asset for him. Now, the alleged foul on the goal, I didn't really see what that was all about. They said it was mutual contact. I don't...
Yeah. So,
I think that,
for me, it was... It was Weaver, wasn't it? It was Weaver when he went down. I'll be honest. If that was given against us, I would be fuming. Like if they had disallowed that, I would have been raging. I think it was very much them both sort of going at it. To be honest,
I think it's one of those ones where if it's given in the middle of the field, though, I don't think anybody's really that bothered and calls it like a bad decision. So,
but I think you do have to take consideration that it was the build up to a goal, and I think if you chalk it out for that, it just sets a really bad precedent going forward because then you're going to start getting everything. And it's just,
but once again, not impossible. Like nothing that we haven't seen before given to various other clubs. So I do think that
once again, there's no consistency.
Once again, it's a consistency argument. So that is quite frustrating.
No, 100%.
But I think it was a great finish. To be fair, like into the bottom corner.
Yeah, I've got to give him credit. What a finish! Literally, what was it? What's the expression? Is it eye of a needle? Like he literally got it through. I think it was he nutmegged someone and then right in the corner of Verbruggen, no chance. So I mean, fair play to him. It was a fantastic goal. Yeah, it's one of those you've got to think. Do you know what? And then to be honest, Jack, I don't know about you, how you felt. I just felt like that was game over. I couldn't really see a way back for us, to be honest, after that point. Up until the sort of, when we were 1-0 down, obviously, Adingra's sort of, moment, I thought, we're in this and we can, this game.
Yeah.
I thought when we scored, I was like, oh, right, this
Fine
is good.
margins,
Like, this
though,
could
isn't it?
really, yeah, no, 100%. But then that second goal just killed us.
Yeah, we were dead
that second goal
off
killed us.
We looked leggy. We looked tired. We looked out of it, and yeah, it was sort of like a real dampener. I before the game, I was a bit worried that this could sort of, with the intensity of the games coming up, that this could be a real pivotal moment in kind of like, us running out of a bit of steam, and it does kind of look like we ran out a little bit of steam here. So yeah, really frustrating one there, but it not to go Graham Potter again, but it is what it is. So we've got to move on, haven't we? We've got to keep on rolling.
100%. And then of course, a lot of time wasting. Emi Martinez in particular loves that housery, doesn't he? He loves to waste time. But do you know what? When you're 2-0 up, I sort of can't blame him, to be honest. You want to see the game out.
I do have a frustration with we just need to get rid of giving yellow cards to goalkeepers for time wasting. It is a completely
they are bringing in the new
exercise.
rule.
Yeah,
they are bringing
exactly.
The new rule.
And it's a completely pointless exercise, in my opinion. What was the point of booking Emi Martinez on 88 minutes when you're not going to send him off for doing it again, and he's just going to carry on, and then you're going to take a couple of minutes to do the booking? The whole thing is just a complete and utter farce, and I think it's pointless. I think they should just bin it off. If they're time wasting, just keep on adding time on. Because the referee should just stop his clock and go, right, I'm going to time it for every single time you time waste. Because that is far worse to them, rather than wasting a whole minute, going through the whole process of, here's your yellow card, don't do it again, but I'm not going to send you off for a yellow card. Because he said that himself. Like, the referees have said to people, I'm not going to send someone off for a second yellow for time wasting. So what's the point of that being a rule? That's a very frustrating thing, and it's not going to change, but it is what it is.
Well, yeah. Well, for people that aren't aware, from next season, they will be introducing time wasting from a goalkeeper will result in a corner. So I suppose it is a small step towards a better resolution, which I agree with you, Jack. I think because you're right. You're right. What is the point of giving a yellow card if you're not going to then send off the player if they're going to continuously waste time? So it is a frustration.
And I do on Emi Martinez. I'm not moaning at him for time wasting, because I think every goalkeeper does it. We do it, whatever, and he's like the king of it. And all credit to him. I think we all we will all enjoy we all enjoyed it at the World Cup, so you can't really complain on that point. But yeah, it's a frustrating thing to watch. But fair play to them. That's why they've got where they are. And I think we need a bit of that. Villa were a bit nasty. John McGinn's a bit of a he's always in the ref's ear, always moaning. Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we always moaning at the referee? We just sort of let these teams get away with it. And all credit to them, because it's win some games. And yeah, I think we need to stop being so bloody nice to everyone. We need to actually it's a frustrating.
Yeah. The only one who sort of brings that, I suppose, is the one who sort of mainly brings that is Baleba, isn't it? In that centre of midfield, where he has got that little punch to him. He's got that ability to rough players up and barge people off the ball and give that bit of grit that we need. But you're right, we do lack, I think, those gritty sort of leaders or those players that can be a bit of a shithouse when they need to be. I suppose Veltman's actually a big miss in that regard, because he's very good at, the master of the dark arts. And I think we've missed him massively since he's been out. And he's sort of been unspoken about, really, because he's been out for a while now. But yeah, I think we miss him a lot.
Yeah, and it's like you say, master of the dark arts. And yeah, it's a frustrating one, because it's just I'm seeing other teams do it. I'm thinking, why aren't we doing it more? And that's always going to be the problem when you have a very, very young and inexperienced team like us. So yeah, I think there's, and then, I don't think there's too much to say really about the third goal. That was just crap.
Yeah, it was poor all round. It was pretty much on the 109th, 110th minute, pretty much. Just a poor goal, and obviously rounded off their performance as well as they could have wanted, I suppose. I mean, good finish. But again, with Bruggen, potentially, could he have done better? But maybe I'm just being a bit. he did get another big hand on it. Maybe I'm just being pedantic and a bit harsh towards Verbruggen, but it was just one of those. Yeah, like you say, at that point, who cares? You know what I mean?
He's not.
It's
Yeah,
one of those-
exactly. It's sort of those.
Who
you know,
cares?
goals
Yeah.
at the end of games. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
But
just
it's,
get back in and recuperate and get back for Palace, I suppose. But yeah, no, just to summarise, Jack, it was I think you summarised it quite well earlier on. It was again a bit of a after that, especially after 60 minutes, a very sort of leggy, lackluster performance where it was frustrating, wasn't it? I felt like Villa again, they were able to just to sort of reiterate, they were able to bring on Watkins, Onana, and Asensio at 65 minutes after being 1-0 up to, to have that kind of depth, that squad depth. Daniel Marlin for Rodgers, Disasi for Cash. And don't get me wrong, we've got a strong squad as well, but we're missing a lot of players. We've got a lot of players out injured. And, we had a big FA Cup tie, whereas Villa obviously played Preston side. They won 3-0. They're able to take off their best players at around 60-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is not excuses, by the way. I'm just sort of simply stating what has happened in these past couple of days. So, yeah, I felt like it was very much a rotated team, but rightly so, in my opinion. I think Herzler made the right decision. And we've lost to a very good Villa side. I'm annoyed. Don't get me wrong, I am frustrated because you don't want to lose. But this is that. Well, we're gonna have to. These are all learnings. We're all gonna have to learn about these things. We have got players out. We have played 120 minutes on the weekend with a 3-day turnaround. These are all factors that do contribute to losses. Yeah. So look, we're gonna have to chalk it up. We're gonna have to take the L, and rightly so. And Villa. Respect to Villa for beating us 3-0. But we're going to have to move on, and we've got a massive game coming up against Palace, and I think that's when we really needed reaction. We said we wanted reaction against Villa. We didn't get it, but Palace really is the time to turn it around, and we are going to be doing a match preview, of course, so we'll talk about that a bit more in a bit.
And I think Villa are just a quality side, and I think, like lots of people, I'm not trying to downplay like the ability of our side and our players, but I do think we do suffer definitely at Brighton with overrating our own team to like high levels.
I'm guilty. I'm very guilty. I even said about Maleba being 150 million. So
and I think, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but we've got to look at the sort of expectations on this very, very young side and sort of manage it correctly and manage our expectations. And, like you say, they keep on saying it's a transitionary season. It could end up being a really good season. Who knows? But let's not just put like ridiculous pressure on already. So that's it. Yeah.
No, 100%. I think that's a really good point as well. And it's a point I've made in the past where I think people do forget how young our squad is. We've got such young, inexperienced players. It's shown recently that inexperience, I think, at times with some of our players because they are so young. And look, even people giving stick to Yari, for example, people forget it's his first season playing Premier League football. He was playing in the Champ last season for Blackburn, and he's now playing first team football pretty much every other week. And players are going to take time to develop. Even Baleba, I'm his biggest fan, but he's been pretty poor against Forest and Villa. I thought when he came on yesterday, he wasn't great against Forest. He didn't have a great game, but again, they're super young. They're still learning. There's got so much more development to come, and even for example, Hinchwood yesterday struggled a little bit. I know he got his yellow card, and I think he sort of struggled in that right back position. But again, they're super young. They've got so much to learn, and we can't just expect them. Why do we expect us to get European football? Why is that a given? Yeah. Like, I think we have to sort of manage expectations. I think Conference League is very realistic at this point in the season.
Yeah.
But like Champions League football, come on, like who are we kidding? We're not competing for Champions League football. Let's be serious.
Interesting you bring up Jack there because I'd love to see him be able to go back into central midfield because he was doing so well in midfield.
Oh, he's brilliant.
We've had to shunt him out to right back again, so which is really frustrating with injuries. And, I think, him alongside Baleba in some games, he's been superb. So, yeah, 100%. Let's move on from this one. And, Go
and let's look forward. Yeah. All right, Jack. Well, we'll wrap this up, and we'll be filming a preview straight after this for the Palace game. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and however you're consuming this, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff.
It's
Go
not
on,
been
Jack.
the cheeriest couple of podcasts. I was just going to say.
No,
is
it hasn't. But who can blame us, Jack? Who can blame us? It has
Yeah.
been a tough. It's been a tough few days. It's been a tough week. But yeah, we will be, of course, covering the Palace game, which obviously is a huge, huge game. And yeah, we'll be doing that straight after this. So yeah, make sure to tune in. And thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Peace.